My name is Scarlett, and at 36 years old, my husband said, I need a break from us after 10 years. I said, take your time. Then I filed for divorce that afternoon before he could. The sheriff serving the papers at his new partner's house. Perfection. I got the speech on a Sunday morning. Evan, 38, and I had been married 10 years. No kids. He'd always said maybe later, and later never came, which, looking back, made sense. We were having coffee. Normal Sunday. I was reading news on my tablet. He was scrolling his phone. Then he put it down and did that thing where he takes a deep breath like he's about to deliver bad news. Scarlett, we need to talk. I looked up. His expression was serious, but not sad. That should have been my first clue. I've been doing a lot of thinking, he started. About us, about where we are, and I think I need a break from us to figure out what I really want. I stared at him. 10 years of marriage, just like that. A break, I repeated. Yes, not a breakup, just space. Time to think clearly without the pressure of daily life together. Maybe a few weeks, a month. He reached across the table for my hand. I didn't pull away. This doesn't mean I don't love you. I just need to figure out if this is still what I want. Here's the thing. I'm not dumb. Over the past 3 months, Evan had been different. Working late more often, texting constantly, smiling at his phone in that specific way. New cologne I never noticed before. The classic signs everyone talks about, but you convince yourself don't mean anything because it's your marriage. So when he said break, I knew exactly what he meant. He'd found someone else, wanted to test drive that relationship while keeping me as the safety net. If it worked out, he'd come back and ask for divorce. If it didn't, he'd return, and I'd be the understanding wife who gave him space. I looked at him, really looked at him. The man I'd spent a decade with, and something in me just clicked off. Okay, I said calmly, take your time. He blinked, surprised. Really? You're okay with this? If you need space to figure things out, then you should have it. I squeezed his hand. I want you to be happy, Evan. If you need time, take it. His whole face lit up. Oh my God, Scarlett, thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me. I was so worried. He caught himself. I'll stay at Heather's place for a while. Heather, his supposedly single friend, who'd been encouraging Evan to live his best life for months now. Sure, I said, whatever you need. He actually hugged me like I'd given him permission to cheat, which in his mind, I kind of had. He packed a bag that afternoon, took enough clothes for 2 weeks, his laptop, some toiletries, kissed my cheek at the door. I'll text you, okay? We can talk in a few days. Take your time, I said again. The door closed. I waited exactly 30 seconds. Then I grabbed my phone and called Doug. Doug's my buddy from college, now a divorce attorney. We play poker twice a month. He answered on the second ring. Scarlett, what's up? I need to file for divorce today. How fast can we move? Pause. Today's Sunday. Tomorrow then. First thing, how fast can we file? If we have everything ready, I can file the petition Tuesday morning. But what happened? You and Evan seemed... He asked for a break an hour ago to figure things out. He's staying with Heather. Another pause. Longer. Oh, man. Yeah, let's do this. Come to my office tomorrow at 9 o'clock a.m. Bring your financial documents, property records, everything. Already have it organized. Of course you do. See you at 9 shy. I spent the rest of Sunday gathering documents, bank statements, mortgage papers, car titles, retirement account info. We'd kept things mostly separate. Learned from my parents' messy divorce. Our house was in both names. Bought 7 years ago. My car was mine. His car was his. No joint credit cards. His idea originally, which now made perfect sense. That night I slept fine. Weirdly fine, like I'd been holding my breath for months and finally exhaled. 5 days later, Doug and I met Monday morning. Went through everything. Our situation was straightforward, actually. House had equity, we'd split it. Retirement accounts from during the marriage would be divided. No kids, no alimony necessary since we both worked. I'm in IT management. Evan's in pharmaceutical sales, making almost as much as me. This should be clean, Doug said. Amicable. Even if he doesn't fight it? Why? Because I'm not supposed to file. He is, after his break. Confirms what he already knows. Doug nodded slowly. Got it. Well, we file tomorrow morning. Sheriff will serve him within a few days, depending on where he's staying. About that, I pulled out my phone, showed him Evan's location. We'd had Find My Friends enabled for years. Safety thing when one of us traveled for work. He'd never turned it off, and he wasn't at Heather's apartment. He was at an address across town. Same address he'd been at every night since Sunday. Doug looked it up. That's a house owned by... He pulled county records. Lily Winters, age 41. Ring any bells? Nope. Want me to dig? Not yet, but when the sheriff serves him... I smiled. I want it done at that address. Doug grinned. I'll make it happen. The petition was filed Tuesday at 9:03 a.m. Grounds: irreconcilable differences. I asked for equitable division of assets, fair split of the house equity. Nothing crazy, nothing vindictive, just done. The sheriff's deputy went to serve him Wednesday afternoon. I knew because Doug called me at 2:47 p.m. Scarlett, he's been served. And Evan? The girl answered the door. Lily Winters let the deputy know Evan was there. He came to the door, and well, he'd clearly been home a while. The deputy said his face went completely white when he handed him the papers. I felt nothing, just cold satisfaction. Has he called you yet? Doug asked. Phone's been off since Sunday night. I'll turn it on when I'm ready. Smart. He's going to lose it. I turned my phone on Thursday morning. 23 missed calls from Evan. 15 texts ranging from confusion to panic to anger. Scarlett, what is this? Why did someone serve me divorce papers? This is a mistake, right? Answer me. How could you do this? I asked for space, not a divorce. You're being insane. We need to talk about this. Lily said you had me followed. That's illegal. Lily. So that was his name. I texted back one message. You wanted to figure out what you really want. I'm helping you figure it out without me as the backup plan. My lawyer is Doug Patterson at Patterson & Associates. Direct all communication through him. His response came in seconds. I never said divorce. This is not what I wanted. You're ruining everything. Me? All communication through my lawyer. Thanks. Blocked his number. He showed up at the house Friday evening. I watched through the doorbell camera as he tried his key. It didn't work. I'd changed the locks Wednesday night. He rang the bell, knocked, rang again. I opened the door, kept the chain on. Evan, please let me in. This is my house too. Technically, it's ours, until the divorce settles. But you chose to move out. You can't just come and go as you please. Now, I didn't move out. I took a break. He asked for space. I gave him permanent space. His face was red, furious. You can't just file for divorce without talking to me. Actually, I can. That's how divorce works. One person files. He stopped, caught himself. You didn't want a divorce. You wanted a break to test drive Lily while keeping me as plan B. I'm just skipping to the inevitable end and saving us both time. Lily means nothing. It's not. We're not. You've been sleeping at her house since Sunday. Save it. How do you know where I am? Were you following me? Find my friends. You never turned it off. He looked like I'd slapped him. That's a violation of my privacy. It's an app we both agreed to use. You can turn it off anytime. Anyway, not my problem anymore. Scarlett, please, can we just talk? Just the two of us. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. Talk to Doug. He's handling everything. I've got nothing to say. You're being cruel. After 10 years, you won't even talk to me. You asked for a break. I'm giving you one permanently. Now get off my porch. I closed the door. He stood there for another 10 minutes, ringing the bell, knocking, yelling about how unreasonable I was being. I turned on the TV and ignored him. Eventually, he left. Doug called Saturday. His lawyer contacted me. Some guy named Philip Reeves. Sounds like a strip mall operation. He was claiming I was being hasty, that Evan wanted counseling, that we should work things out. Would you say? I said, my client has made her decision, and we'll see you in court. He pushed back, said, we're not being good faith about reconciliation. I reminded him, my client isn't required to reconcile, and the petition stands. How long until this is done? We're asking for a hearing in 6 weeks for temporary orders. Who gets the house while this processes financial stuff? Final decree. Probably 4 to 6 months if he doesn't fight. Longer if he does. He'll fight most likely, but the facts are simple. You want to split assets evenly, no alimony either way. He'd have to prove you're hiding assets or being unfair, and you're not. That weekend, I deep cleaned the house, packed up all of Evan's remaining stuff, clothes, his books, electronics, decorations he'd bought. But at boxing, it felt therapeutic. Made the place feel less like our shared space and more like mine. 3 weeks later, the temporary hearing was scheduled, but things escalated before that. Evan's mom, Diane, called. Scarlett, honey, what's going on? Evan had called her sobbing, saying I'd filed for divorce. Out of nowhere, out of nowhere. He'd asked for a break to stay with another man. I just made it official. Silence. Another man? Diane asked. Yes, he said he's staying with Heather. Another woman named Lily has been since he asked for the break. More silence. Oh, honey, he didn't tell me that part. Well, I didn't think so. I understand why you'd be upset, but don't you think divorce is extreme? Maybe counseling? Diane, I love you, but no, I'm done. He made his choice when he started whatever he's doing with Lily. I'm just moving forward. But he says it's not serious with him, it's just confusion. Then he can be confused on his own time. Look, I've got to go. Take care of yourself. I hung up, felt a little bad about that, but not enough to call back. Week 3, things got interesting. Evan filed a motion for me to pay temporary spousal support during the divorce. His argument, he had to move into temporary housing because I'd locked him out and he needed help with rent. Doug called, laughing. He wants you to pay his rent at his boyfriend's house? You're joking. I wish. Reeves filed it yesterday. Wants $2,000 a month for transitional housing. The address on the motion, Lily's place. Can he actually get that? Doubtful. He makes $87,000 a year. You make $94,000. No basis for support, especially temporary. And the judge is going to notice he's asking you to subsidize living with his boyfriend. This is gold, Scarlett. He's making my job so easy. The temporary hearing came week 6. We showed up at the courthouse, family court, smaller room than I expected. Evan was there with Reeves, a pudgy guy in a cheap suit. He looked rough, dark circles under his eyes, hair not styled like usual. He tried to catch my eye. I looked past him. The judge, a tired-looking woman named Judge Kowalski, reviewed our motions. Doug had filed for me to keep exclusive use of the house since I'd been making all the mortgage payments, and Evan had voluntarily moved out. We'd split the equity later, but I should stay there during proceedings. We weren't asking for any support from him. Evan's side asked for temporary spousal support and for me to move out so he could move back in. Judge Kowalski looked at Reeves. Your client makes $87,000 annually. Yes, Your Honor. But he's facing increased expenses due to temporary housing because he voluntarily left the marital home. He needed space to evaluate the marriage. He didn't expect his wife to file for divorce immediately. Whether he expected it is irrelevant. He left voluntarily. He has sufficient income. Judge Kowalski turned to Evan. Sir, why did you leave the home? I needed time to think about our relationship. I asked Scarlett for a short break, just a few weeks. Where are you staying now? Evan hesitated. With a friend. Name and address of this friend? Reeves interjected. Your Honor, I don't see how that's relevant. It's relevant because you're asking for temporary support to pay rent at this location. Name and address, please. Evan looked at Reeves. He nodded reluctantly. Lily Winters, Your Honor. It's a temporary arrangement. Is Mrs. Winters a romantic partner? It's complicated. Judge Kowalski held up her hand. I'm going to stop you there. Mr. Brennan, you voluntarily left your marital home to stay with a romantic partner, and now you're asking your wife to subsidize that living arrangement. Is that correct? It's not like that. I'm paying Lily rent. You're paying him rent. Well, no. But so, you're living there free while asking your wife to pay you support? Judge Kowalski looked at her notes. Motion for temporary spousal support is denied. Scarlett will maintain exclusive use of the marital home. They'll both continue paying their own expenses during the divorce. Mediation is scheduled for 8 weeks from today to discuss asset division. Anything else? Reeves tried to argue. Judge Kowalski shut him down. We were done in 40 minutes. Outside the courtroom, Evan cornered me in the hallway. Scarlett, please, can we just talk? 5 minutes? What's there to talk about? This is insane. You're destroying our marriage over nothing. You asked for a break to sleep with another man. I said okay and filed for divorce. Where's the insanity? I haven't slept with anyone. Lily and I are just friends. He's helping me through this. It's not like you think. I shook my head. I was confused. I made a mistake asking for a break, but you didn't even fight for us. You just gave up. You asked me for permission to cheat. I declined. I never asked to cheat. I needed a break from us to figure out what I wanted. That's code for, I want to try someone else risk-free. Everyone knows that, Evan. His eyes filled with tears. I never cheated on you, I swear. Lily and I are just friends. She's letting me stay at her place while I figure out my feelings. Very friendly, I said flatly, thinking of the last week. You're being so unfair, he spat. Oh, wait, you did it. How'd that go? I walked away. He called after me, but I didn't turn around. In the parking lot, Doug was grinning. That went better than expected. Judge Kowalski is no nonsense. She saw right through the support request. What happens now? Mediation in 8 weeks. You negotiate asset split. If you can't agree, it goes to trial, but that's rare. Most likely, you split the house equity 50-50. Divide retirement accounts per state law. Each keeps their own cars and debts. Straightforward. If he fights it, it drags out and costs more, but he doesn't have grounds to fight. 10 weeks later, mediation was scheduled for a Tuesday. The intervening weeks were quiet. Evan didn't contact me directly. All communication went through lawyers, but I heard things through mutual friends. His situation with Lily had soured. Turns out living together full-time without the thrill of sneaking around made them realize they had nothing in common. Lily had apparently asked Evan to start paying rent. He'd moved out and was staying with Heather for real this time. He'd also been telling people his version of events, that I'd abandoned him, filed for divorce without warning, refused to discuss counseling, and was being vindictive about assets. Some people believed him. Most who knew us both saw through it. Mediation day arrived. We sat in a conference room at a neutral attorney's office. Me, Doug, Evan, and Reeves. A mediator named Donald facilitated. "Let's start with the easy stuff," Donald said. "Vehicles. We each kept our own cars. Easy. Retirement accounts." Doug explained that state law required splitting the marital portion, whatever was earned during the marriage. Evan had about $78,000 in his 401k. I had $112,000. The difference would be equalized according to the formula. He'd get some of mine, I'd get some of his. Then, the house. This is where it got interesting. We bought the house 7 years ago for $340,000, put down $60,000, $30,000 each from our individual savings. Current market value was around $485,000. We owed $240,000. That meant $245,000 in equity to split. Doug laid it out. My client proposes selling the house, paying off the mortgage, splitting the remaining equity 50-50. She has no interest in buying out his portion. Reeves jumped in. My client would like to keep the house. She's willing to buy out Mrs. Brennan's portion. Donald looked at Evan. Do you have financing in place for that? He nodded. I've been pre-approved for a mortgage to buy her out. Doug raised an eyebrow. What amount were you approved for? Reeves handed over a pre-approval letter. It showed approval for up to $260,000. Doug did the math. So you'd be paying off the existing $240,000 mortgage, plus buying out half of the $245,000 equity, $122,500. Total of $362,000. But you're only approved for $260,000. That's $102,500 short. Reeves cleared his throat. My client has family resources. Does he? Doug asked. Evan looked uncomfortable. We're working on that. No, I said quietly. We'll stick with selling the house. Neither party has the means to buy out the other fairly. Evan spoke up. I don't want to sell. This is my home. It was our home, I said quietly. But you left it for a break, not forever. And then you wanted to stay away permanently with Lily. Now that didn't work out. You want the house back? Tough. Donald held up his hands. Let's stay productive. Mr. Brennan, if you can't buy out your wife's equity, the house will need to be sold. Standard procedure. This is ridiculous, Evan snapped. She's doing this to punish me. I'm doing this because I want my equity out and I'm not subsidizing your life anymore, I said calmly. Donald made notes. Sell the house, 50-50 split after mortgage is paid. List within 30 days. Unresolved pending. Mr. Brennan's ability to secure financing. If he can't within 30 days, we list. We move through smaller items. Furniture, joint savings, $4,200, split. Joint credit card with $100 balance, each pays half. At the end, Donald summarized, You're largely in agreement on most items. The house is the sticking point. Mr. Brennan has 30 days to secure financing for a buyout. If he can't, we list and split proceeds. Sound fair? Doug nodded. Reeves looked at Evan. He looked furious but nodded. Great. I'll draft the mediation agreement. Assuming no changes, you can finalize the divorce once the house situation resolves. In the parking lot, Doug was upbeat. He won't get the financing. Nobody in his family has that kind of cash, and no bank will approve a second loan to cover the gap. House will be listed in 31 days. How you feeling? Honestly relieved. I just want this done soon. Few more months max. Final resolution. Evan didn't get the financing. Shocker. His parents couldn't loan him $100,000, and no bank would approve a second loan to cover the gap. The house listed 33 days after mediation. Real estate market was decent. We priced it at $479,000 to move it fast. Got an offer in 11 days, $472,000. I accepted immediately. After paying off the $238,000 remaining mortgage, closing costs, and realtor fees, we netted $218,000, split 50-50, $109,000 each. The divorce decree was finalized 2 weeks after the house closed. Judge Kowalski signed it without ceremony. No alimony, clean asset split, both parties responsible for their own debts. Done. I got my portion of the house money on a Thursday. Moved the check into my savings account. Felt weird seeing that number. 10 years of marriage, reduced to $109,000, and split retirement accounts. I found a decent apartment near my office. 1 bedroom, modern, nice building. Leased it and moved in over a weekend. My sister helped. We ordered pizza, assembled my new bed frame from IKEA, hung up my TV. "You doing okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, and I meant it. Heard through the grapevine that Evan was also in an apartment. Smaller place, further from work. He'd apparently tried getting back together with Lily, but Lily had started seeing someone else. He'd been telling mutual friends that I'd stolen his life by not giving him a chance to fix things. One friend, Amy, called me about it. "Evan saying you filed without even trying counseling, that you refused to work on the marriage." "Well," I said, "he asked for a break to stay with another man. What exactly was I supposed to work on?" "Fair enough," Amy said. I didn't hate Evan. Honestly, I didn't feel much about him at all anymore. The anger had faded weeks ago. Now he was just someone I used to know, someone who'd made choices, and I'd made mine in response. 3 months post-divorce, I was sitting in my apartment on a Saturday morning. Coffee, comfortable silence. Nowhere I had to be. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. "Hey, Scarlett, it's Evan. I know we're not supposed to contact each other, but I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I handled things badly. I was selfish and stupid. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know I regret how it went down. I hope you're doing well." I read it twice, thought about responding, decided against it, deleted the message. He got his break. I got my freedom. We both got exactly what we asked for. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to let it go.